welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
And we've got some breaking news here. As of last night, Vanderpump Rules. Do you still watch Vanderpump much or not that
not
much?
really. But I mean, I follow
what's going
on, but I don't watch the actual episodes.
Well, Tom Sandoval has been having an affair with Raquel. I literally can't believe this at all. I mean, I'm not surprised that he was cheating, or like that he cheated, but that he was having a full-blown affair.
And I read that it was upwards of 6 months.
Yeah, that's what DJ James Kennedy was saying. And I'm literally just so blown away. I can't, and like I don't have social media, so I was like trying to get on Twitter and look at all the memes and stuff, and they were pretty funny. But I'm so shocked, and I feel so bad for Ariana.
I do too.
And I know she struggles with like her mental health, so I'm like so worried about her.
She had to have been completely blindsided.
I know. I don't know how she couldn't have been. And then even like this season, I think we're like 2 or 3 episodes in. He's all like, yeah, the restaurant is taking up a lot of my time and stuff. So it's like, and then he's in this new band. So it's like, sure, he was probably out doing whatever with Raquel. And like, Ariana and Raquel were friends.
Yeah.
Which is so horrible. Like, I can't even.
Well, Raquel's gone through a lot of
I know.
the friend group.
She sure has.
Cast.
Both Toms.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for Raquel, but I really do think she's been struggling. Like, you can see it in this episode. And she was just on Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think she looked good. Like, she looked kind of out of it.
Yeah.
And everything. And I feel like she's going through a really hard time after her big breakup. But,
girl. That was just horrible. And then I saw it was a video from whatever publication, and it was from their like Instagram or something from Halloween, and the two of them were together, and I don't know who was filming stuff. Maybe Ariana was there. I have no idea, but it looked like it was just Tom and Raquel. And I'm just like, why were the two of you just hanging out? Like, the writing was clearly on the wall.
I know, it was hidden in plain sight. And
it's just disgusting. I mean, I don't know. I never really liked him that much. He just seemed a little grimy to me.
I know. I did and I didn't. I don't know. It was weird. But I am very shocked, though, that he did this to Ariana, because he was so, like, Ariana's the best thing ever. And I'm like, Kristen Doty is probably just living her best life right now. She's, like, vindicated at last.
Kidding. Out of the two Toms, though, I like Tom Schwartz better.
I do like him. I do feel like he gets a pass a lot.
Yeah, he does.
But I do think he seems nicer and less full of himself, and I do think he's kind of like maybe a people pleaser or something. Like, he just doesn't like to be in conflict with people, where Tom Sandoval is, just fine with it.
Yeah, he's definitely more outspoken.
Yes.
And I didn't even know he was doing a thing with a band. Like, that was news to me.
Well, the only reason I knew was from the show, because they were talking about it. But he had a band before, and they had like one song, and they like filmed the music video on
the show. Well,
but this is a different band.
It said he was, I don't know, it must have been last night, I think, that he was performing. And then people were chanting, like, Ariana.
Cheater.
Yeah. And then he said, do you know what it feels like to be the most hated? First of all, Tom, there's a huge population that has no idea who you are. So chill out. Like, you're not Casey Anthony.
No.
Don't put yourself on this level.
And it almost felt like he liked that people were talking about him. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Don't make a joke about this.
The audacity to say, like, oh, we love her. We love Ariana. Like, get out of here. Clearly you don't, because you've been cheating on her and living this complete double life.
No, it was crazy. My mom sent me the headline, and then I'm like, oh, whatever. And then it was like, no, they were all talking about how it's just
It was
true.
real. Like, it was wildfire.
It was.
It really was. Because it came up because I still get my e-news alerts.
Yes.
So it popped up on my phone, and I was surprised, but not that surprised, just because reality TV stars, But then as I was reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody has commented. It is happening right now.
It was.
I feel bad for James Kennedy, because what he said, he's like, I'm just sick reading this. Things make so much more sense. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I think he's kind of...
I know. I know. I do and I don't, like you were saying. I do feel like Tom was his friend.
Yeah.
I mean, he helped him pay for the engagement for Raquel.
Yes.
So it's like, what in the world? And I know, I'm sure the affair didn't, because that was like a couple of years ago now.
But they didn't overlap.
No, but still, I'd be like, what?
I know.
Speaking of James Kennedy, I thought I would share this. Do you remember Cameo?
Yeah.
Well, a couple years ago. Did I already tell you this before?
I don't know.
Maybe it's been a while.
Yeah, I feel
my husband got me one.
I think I do remember.
And he picked this person out, and it is a special message. Or if you don't know what Cameo is, you can pay C and D list celebrities to make a message for you. And this is the one my husband got, and this is from DJ James Kennedy, aka White Kanye. So here it is.
What's going on, Hannah Parler? It's your boy James Kennedy here from your favourite show, Vanderpump Rules. Brett says he's really sorry for peeing on you after he drank so much that time. Oh, Brett, come on. But he says you're even now because he had to wipe pee off your legs multiple times after having your son Vincent. Well, celebrations on Vincent. God bless Vincent. Hey, Hannah, Brett loves you very much, so keep killing it. And keep loving Vanderpump. Come see me DJ sometime. Pumptinis.
So there you have it. From, I was so surprised when I got that, but I just thought that was funny because I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I still have that Cameo.
It actually is so cute too, the video of him doing it. He I don't know, seeing him in that kind of
I know, I love to hate him. He's definitely the perfect villain.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I still have a sweet... I feel like I'm like that with all the characters there. I love to hate them all.
Well, and we just are so knowledgeable of the truths of reality TV. So we know how people can play the villain card and can be, image crafting, or they do things for ratings. So that's where whenever somebody is the quote unquote villain of a show.
It's are they really?
Yeah, and I'm always skeptical in knowing that isn't how they probably really are.
Yeah, and he's so sensitive. I mean, he cries about stuff. Anyway, we don't have to talk about Vanderpump anymore. By the time this comes out, there'll probably be way more information about it.
Yeah, we'll have to do an update if things get juicier, because I had read too that this morning I read this that a rep close to the show, which who knows what that actually means, said cameras are rolling and more things are going to come to light.
Oh boy.
So there's more to the story.
We need to just scrap this whole season and start from here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I might have to start watching because I want to know
I know, and now I feel like when I'm watching it, I'm going to be reading between the lines for everything that's said and done. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, and they were saying just, how reality shows live off this type of drama. And somebody had commented, I don't know if it was somebody close to the show or whatever, but they said, oh, the cast should be thanking Raquel and Tom because now there's already talks for a season 11, I think. Would that be the next one? I think there would have been anyway.
Yeah, I don't think this, and that's Ariana's life is probably ruined.
Yeah,
so
I wonder if she'll stay with the show.
I know.
You know, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, just because they were together for so long.
I know. And like she deleted her Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, of course she did, because that's 9 years of her content is all him.
And
so.
you know, people are crazy and they'll go back through so many pictures and they'll be commenting stuff and her phone would just be blowing up and like, yeah, no. And you don't even want to get the DMs from random
people,
friends or D-list celebrities or whatever that are going to be saying, oh, I support you. Like, I don't blame her for deleting.
No.
Yeah. I had something really funny and embarrassing happen at work. So we have like snacks that we'll put out. And so my one coworker who usually does all that was not in yet for the morning. And I said, oh, I'll be helpful and I'll just start putting out the snacks. And we have these jars and we'll take like pretzels or popcorn and put them in the jars. And we have little baggies and you can like fill up and take a snack with you. Well, I don't have a microwave, and this is going to make me sound so stupid, but I'm just sharing it anyway. I just don't have a microwave. It's not that I have any qualms against, like, the radioactivity or anything. It's just my place didn't come with one, and then now I've just been living without it, and I feel I don't need it. So it's been a while since I've popped popcorn. I'm like trying to rationalize. And I just was kind of half paying attention because I had other work to do. And I'm like, I'll just put this in and then it's easy. Well, I looked at the bag and I just saw where it said 3 minutes. And then I saw another thing where it said 1.5. And I'm like, okay, 3 minutes seems really long. So I'll put it in for 2.
Right.
I didn't realize it was a mini bag of popcorn, which I know, again, sounds stupid because how could I not know? But I didn't. I legitimately didn't. So I put it in for 2 minutes. Everything was fine. You know, I hear it popping. I went into my office, yada, yada. And then I heard it go off, and I went out into our little kitchenette area, and I'm like, oh, I burned the popcorn. Like, I could smell it, you know. Well, I really burnt the popcorn.
It was on fire.
I opened it up and smoke just everywhere.
And like, that was 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
That's kind of crazy.
I thought so too, but I guess with the mini bag, it was just too much. But yeah, there was smoke just flooding out of the microwave. So I took the bag out and I didn't know what to do. I stupidly opened it. I don't even know why I tried. A puff of smoke comes out of the bag right into my face. There's smoke just all around me. I'm crippled with laughter at this point because I'm embarrassed and don't know what to do.
That is one of the worst smells.
Yes, I know.
Popcorn, and it stinks up the whole place.
So my other coworker, he was in his office down the hall, and he said all he could hear was me going, oh. And so he comes out and he's like, is everything okay? And then he just sees me doubled over. I can't even breathe. I'm crying because I'm laughing so hard. I threw away the popcorn bag into the garbage can. It's still smoking.
Oh my gosh.
And then he's like, I don't think that we can keep this in here. Like, I'm going to take it out to the dumpster. He's dying laughing too. Like, he can't believe I did this.
Oh, no.
And then I go over to the microwave because I had closed it. I open it up again. More smoke is coming out of the microwave.
Broke the microwave.
We open up the doors to like our main office area. It smells horrific. It's terrible. And then he was making the joke like I was Ryan from The Office. So then he was singing like, Ryan started the fire. But then it was me. So.
Oh my goodness.
It was
I'm
so
surprised
embarrassing.
I got that. You know what though? Some microwaves are so powerful.
It must have been that, like,
and
the
some
setting.
are terrible. Like, you warm it. Like, the one we have at work, it's like 5 minutes and it's barely warm.
That's crazy.
But that one,
But I feel if I would have even put it on for a minute and a half, I mean,
still
how
would have burnt.
Yeah, how did 30 seconds? I don't know. I should have read the bag closer. I should have paid more attention. But again, to like talk myself up, I can cook. I can do things for myself. But I burnt microwave popcorn and it was just embarrassing. But that was so then everybody that came in our office was like, what? It smells horrible in here. I'm like, I know, I burnt popcorn.
That is the worst smell. Like,
it was the whole day.
Ugh, terrible.
I know, I won't live that one down.
You're fired from popping popcorn.
No, I won't do it anymore. I literally
It's too
won't.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I can't.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So a couple years ago, or not that long ago, we found out that the Hollywood Walk of Fame, to get a star, you had to pay like this crazy amount of money. But how do you actually, like, do you just put in a request?
I don't know. I mean, I've
or do
never
you get
actually looked that up. But who was it that recently got
There's
a
been
star?
a couple of people, like not Ryan Reynolds, the Jonas Brothers, and there's somebody else.
I'm thinking of a female who just got it. Oh my gosh, who was that?
There's been a few, like,
I can't remember, but she was on a talk show and I like watched this and somebody was saying, oh, you got your star on the Walk of Fame. And she said, yeah, I finally paid for it. And I had forgotten that was
when
the
it
way
just
it went.
came out.
Yeah.
Which I think is weird. I just don't understand how any of that works. Like,
And how did it work before?
I know, did they always pay for it? Or can you just, like, if I paid whatever the amount was, could I have a star?
I don't like that.
No, it took away the magic for me. Like, I thought that was an honor that you got.
And why is it such a big... Oh, it was Courtney Cox.
Yes, that is who it was. There's a Jonas Brothers, Courtney Cox, and there's somebody else that just got one, too.
It was a male celebrity, I remember. But I don't understand then why you would want your whole family there, all these people that have
just
supported you.
It.
Yeah, why? There has to be something else, you know? Is there?
Like, do you need a certain amount of accolades?
I don't know either.
I don't know. I was just wondering if you knew.
No,
Guess not.
But now I do want to research it. Maybe we can just pay for it ourselves.
That's what I'm saying.
How much money?
Was it like 50,000 or something?
Okay, I just Googled this, and this is from Wikipedia. So, oh my God. This is from now the actual Walk of Fame website. Can anyone buy a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? There is a $50,000 sponsorship fee upon selection. The fee is used to pay for the creation and installation as well as maintenance of the star. But then Wikipedia says anyone, including fans, can nominate anyone active in the field of entertainment as long as the nominee or their management approves the nomination. They must have a minimum of 5 years experience in the category for which they are nominated and a history of charitable contributions.
Oh.
So
there are stipulations.
I guess that, yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's a whole procedure, which I'm not going to go into that whole detail because I don't feel like reading all this right now, but there's a deadline for when people can be nominated, and then I guess they select. So I guess it's more than just you pay, but still.
It's so weird though that you pay.
Maybe you always had to do that. I don't know.
It must. We just finally found out. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Gonna be rich.
I know. I had shared this with you yesterday, I think. I don't want to get into the whole Selena Gomez, Hailey Bieber, Kendall Jenner drama. But what I shared with you was how she said she was taking a social media break, but then like 2 days later, she's posting on social media. And it just made me think about social media breaks in general.
Yes.
And how it is really challenging for celebrities because,
Right.
first of all, they have sponsorship commitments and all that stuff. And they feel like they have this connection to their fans, or their fans feel like they owe it to them and all this stuff. But it's literally is an addiction for them too.
Right.
I
to
feel.
get the likes.
Yeah.
I know.
And what she posted was something so trivial, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it was cute, her and her sister out fishing, whatever. But why did she feel the need to post that?
Right. And I know you can get on social media without, reading things.
Yeah.
You can just like post and walk away. But it was just weird that she said, I'm going to take a break, and then post it again.
Yeah. And it made me think of like Ed Sheeran a few weeks ago, maybe a month now, how he put out a post and said, I know I've been like not very good on this platform or social media in general for the last couple of years, and I've been going through a lot of changes in my life, but I'm back. I'm going to be posting more content now, and yada, yada, yada. But like, it made me realize, and again, we've said it before, but neither of us have social media, so we're not fully engaged.
Right.
But I guess the stuff that he was posting was just surface level promotional for his albums or tours, whatever. And he had to be on it, but like didn't want to be.
Which is kind of crazy in itself.
Yeah. And it just made me think of like us, like when we went off social media, and it was kind of hard at first.
It definitely was like and you just automatically grab your phone and click an app and pull it up, even if you're not really paying attention to anything. It's like a reflex.
Yeah, it is a reflex. So I just found that interesting, and I think that's a good segue into what we wanted to talk about with boundaries.
Yes. Are you good at setting boundaries?
Sometimes. I'm trying to get better. Like, there's some boundaries that I'm good about, and then others that I'm not, and then some boundaries that I have that I'm like, do I need to have this boundary? Why? Are you good at setting boundaries?
No.
No? Okay.
Definitely not. I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm thinking about them more and what I feel comfortable doing. But it's so challenging because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. And I just feel like people pleasing a lot of the times.
Yeah.
You just always find yourself doing things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Or that don't make you comfortable. I mean, it's good to get out and do things you're uncomfortable with. But if something is a situation that is triggering you,
why do that? Yeah. Why put yourself in that situation?
Exactly.
I think I didn't really realize that I needed boundaries in my life until more recently, like in the past maybe year, maybe two, probably not two, but yeah, I didn't realize how important they were.
Yes.
And when we were kind of thinking about just this topic, it made me think about boundaries that I set with myself, and then boundaries that I set with other people. So like the social media stuff, that was a hard boundary that I set with myself.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is not good for my mental health.
Yes.
I'm done with this. I'm not going to do it. And at first, I deleted the apps on my phone, but didn't delete accounts.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, maybe I'll come back to it. But then after a year, I think, I decided, no, why do I even need this? So I fully deleted the accounts that I had. And then now it's kind of challenging because when we're trying to get in and promote our podcast, like, I don't want to get back into social media. So I'm trying to just like, okay, I'm going to go in and only post our stuff and get off. I'm not going to scroll.
Yes.
Because it'll just take up so much time of my life.
Yes. No, I totally agree with something like that, especially when it comes to social media.
Social media, and for me, work email. So I don't know if you have that for work or not.
I mean, yes, but not to the extent that you would.
Yeah. So yeah, I use email a lot in my job, and I have my email connected to my phone, which I didn't
It's most
really
convenient, though.
I know. Like, I didn't really want to do it, but then because of what I do, I felt like I needed to.
Yes.
But I have it where I can turn off, the notifications or, what I want to see at certain times. Anyway, so I'll find myself, like, when I get home from work, I just left work like an hour ago, and I'll already go in and turn back on my work email to see if there's anything in there that I need to that's important that I need to respond to. And sometimes this is the thing that's kind of funny. I'll read the email, but then pretend I didn't read it, mark it as unread, and then like exit out and like hide that email again.
So I didn't read it technically.
Yeah, I don't have to respond right now. But that's something that I do. I'm trying to get better at with a boundary for myself, especially on the weekends. Like, I don't need to check this all the time.
No.
Nothing is that important. I'm not that important. Like, just no.
I was listening to a podcast and a therapist was on there, and she said something I thought was really interesting too, is that boundaries aren't supposed to be punishments for people. And I do think a lot of the time, especially family members, when you do try to set a little bit of a boundary, they are taking it as, oh, well, you're mad at me or you don't like me. And that is so challenging too. So then you end up like going back on the boundary that you set, and then there's no boundary, and you're the one who is getting punished, basically,
right?
Instead of them.
And we're like making ourselves feel bad about it.
Exactly. Like if you are in a situation you don't want to be a part of, and you keep getting like manipulated into it, and it's like, no, this makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I need to stop putting myself in that situation.
Yes.
That's where I have too with like taking a break from some people. Like there are definitely times where I've spent more time or less time with certain family members or friends that I have or acquaintances, and I'm just like, it's not that I don't like you, but I just
can't be with certain people all the time.
And I just need a break. Like, I just don't want to do things with you all the time. Like, I just can't do it.
And for me, I really enjoy alone time. And when people start to overtake that, I do get very sulky and like grumpy, and I might get a little snippy with people because I am upset and I feel like you're not listening to me when I'm telling you I need space, or I can't tell you I need space because it'll hurt your feelings.
I think that that's kind of, I mean, it is an us problem, right? Because the two of us we are people pleasers.
Yes.
So if someone says like, oh, well, do you not want to do something with me? Or, hey, do you want to do something this weekend? And in my head, I'm like, no, I don't, because I've just either had enough of you right now, or I just need me time, like you said. But then when they ask again, or when they, just the way they word it or say it, it's like, I feel guilty, and then I end up caving.
Yep, or you think you can't tell somebody how you're feeling because it'll hurt their feelings, even though it's not supposed to be like that, but they're going to take it that way, so you end up just doing the thing you don't want to do, or being in the situation you don't want to be in.
Yeah, but in reality, that is me just thinking that that's the way it's going to be.
Right.
When, like, if I would just say, hey, no, I need some me time. Like, if I was just honest, the person would probably, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe they'd be mad. For the most part. But yeah, they probably would respect that.
Yeah. If you were just like, hey, I'm just not up for it this weekend, but I feel like I can't.
I know, me too, because I just want to please people, and I just
want to do whatever I want to do.
That's the other boundary. I have a hard time saying no.
Yes.
And I'm trying to get better with that, like with personal life and with work, because I just have such a hard time. If someone asks me to do something and I have a lot on my plate already, I have a hard time saying, no, I can't do that right now. But I need to stand up for myself and say, like, no, I'm overloaded. No, this is a boundary. I can't do that. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying no.
No, there isn't, but it feels
like
so
there
wrong.
is. I know. Or something I think I am okay at is when I don't want to talk about something.
Yes.
And sometimes I just shut down, which is not, and I don't use my words, which is not healthy or beneficial.
I know, I do that too.
But I've been getting better, especially if I have a conflicting view with somebody else. And instead of, like, I don't want to fight about it. I'm not trying to fight about it, but maybe that other person is. And I try to just say, I hear what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't want to have this conversation.
Right.
Like, I don't want to go down this road because it's going to upset me more or we're not going to get the resolve. And I don't want to do this. I'm not having this conversation.
Yes.
And sometimes people respond to that negatively because then they're like, well, you can't even talk about it. No, I can talk about it, but I'm choosing not to.
Yes, because it's not going anywhere between me and you.
Yeah. Please respect that.
I definitely feel that way too. If there is things, sometimes personal things too, I don't really like talking about. And I can even think of a time where I was going through something and I did not want to be around certain people. And I was manipulated into going into that situation. And I was hurt even more because of some, well, okay, I'll get a little vulnerable. Oh no. I had experienced pregnancy loss and I was still coming to terms with it, and there was a situation where there's people that I just did not want to be around in that situation, and I didn't want to talk about what had happened, and I was guilted and manipulated, and even now when I think about that, that's what I remember most from that loss. Well, then when I went there and I kept saying, you know, I don't feel good, I don't want to be there. And when I got there, somebody announced that they were pregnant.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I said I did not want to be here, and now I'm hurt even more. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy for them. It was that
you were going through something.
Yes, and I didn't want to talk about it. And sure, I could have said, you know, I just experienced this loss, and I don't want to be around people right now, and I don't want to talk about it. But why should I have to come up with the perfect excuse that you will allow me not to go?
Right.
It's like I shouldn't have to talk about it. I should just be able to say, no, I don't want to go.
And that should be enough.
Yes. Why do I have to justify it? You even had that situation similar too, where they kept asking you about your birthday, and you were like, I don't want to talk about it, and they wouldn't leave you alone. And it's like, respect.
I know. Yeah. And
what I said,
like, not obviously not on the same level as pregnancy loss, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't like celebrating my birthday for like a lot of different reasons. Like, I don't really like getting older for different reasons, not just for vanity, but it just, I don't know. For me, my birthday is a time to reflect on my life, and I don't really like doing that right now. Right. So I just don't want, and I also just don't like a lot of attention on me either. I hate that. So yeah, I was at a event with coworkers, and they kept asking me about my birthday and when it was, and I didn't want to tell people when my birthday was because I don't want it to be made a big deal. Right. And I kept trying to respectfully say, no. And then I finally caved and said when it was. And then they're like, we're going to do, because I'm turning 30 this year. We both are. Dun, dun, dun. I know. Me. But they kept saying they're going to do all this stuff and at work, in my office. And I said, I will be legitimately upset if you do that. Like, I straight up said, please do not. And they were not letting it go.
Which I think is horrible. You're like, I am telling you no. And not trying to be a butthead. Like, just respect it.
Right. And at first, I was being a little more like jovial and joking about it and ha ha ha, this is funny. But then it got to a point, and like same with you. At first you're probably trying to be like more kind, like no, I don't really want to go. And then it gets to a point where you're just like enough. I don't want you to do this. I don't want to go. Like, why are you not hearing me? Like, I was very curt, and it still didn't deter them.
No, which I think is just crazy. Even, you know, in that situation on our way there, I was in the car so mad. Like, why am I going to something I don't want to go to? Like, I couldn't even wrap my head around it. I'm like, why is this not good enough for these people? Like, I'm telling you no. Respect it.
I know. But again, that's kind of an us problem that we do get. We allow ourselves to be manipulated in that way. But it's also because we don't want to cause other problems with people.
And I don't want to hurt other people by not doing something or whatever, but I instead got hurt more.
Yeah.
And it's, why was that fair to me? So I'm going out of my way trying not to hurt other people.
And they're just
destroyed.
Hurting you left and right. Yeah. Like, and then did anybody even like say anything to you?
It was a few years, well, it was probably, I don't know,
that was
4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So I don't really remember, but I do remember I was grumpy and everyone was playing games, and I was like, I don't want to play games. I don't want to be here. And I looked like this horrible, mean, grouchy person when actually I was going through something. Instead, they were just thinking about themselves. Like, people don't just be mean to be mean a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Some people do, but I wasn't trying to be mean. I wanted to be at home
and
in processing.
In that moment, you just needed alone time. And maybe like, because when you did have that pregnancy loss, like I think it was because I was living in San Francisco at the time, and you didn't even tell me until like later. I don't even know how long later, but you needed time yourself before you were ready to kind of talk about it. And even when you told me, you were just like, I don't really want to talk about this, but this happened.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know, it was just a weird time in both of our lives. But we didn't even talk about it more.
No.
And then I literally don't even think we've ever brought it up since. Until just now.
Well, when we were thinking about this boundaries topic, I was thinking of instances, and that was one of the ones that came up. And I feel like I don't talk about it because that situation was so clouded by the lack of respect. And I guess sort of what it told me too was nobody cares what I'm going through.
Yeah.
It's whatever they want.
Yeah.
Which, again, is the people pleasing. And it just felt like, okay, nobody cares, even if I did say it. You know,
that just makes you feel
just
even
dismissed.
worse.
Yeah, it was like so dismissed. And again, nobody knew, but I didn't feel like I should have had to tell them. It should have been good enough for me to just say no.
Yeah, well, it should. Yeah, and people don't, if you would have said something too, like people wouldn't have just respected, oh, okay, like you told me this, I appreciate you telling me this, I'm so sorry, you don't want to talk about it more right now, that's fine. Like it would have just been like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, do you want to talk about, oh, I had this happen to me, you know, like.
Yeah, which it's fine, but sometimes it's like, no, I just want us to think about it myself.
Yeah. I think that's hard for people to understand too.
And when somebody's setting a boundary or telling you no about something, you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you should just respect it.
Well, and everybody's different.
Some people want to scream at the top of the roof what happens to them, and some people like to process it and then maybe talk about it.
Yeah. I think both of us are more people who
need to reflect.
We reflect, but then never tell anybody.
Yeah, it's like I might be able to work through it myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that came up again. I guess I'm kind of worked through it.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't talk to people about personal stuff like that because I feel like it just, I don't know if I don't like being vulnerable around people or I just don't think people are going to care.
For me, I think it's both.
Yeah, that could. And it does seem like even when we have conversations with people, it's like we ask about them and they never ask about us.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, I'm just not going to get into it with you.
Right. Yeah, I've had that so many times, especially with people that I thought I was really close with.
Right.
That now that I'm older and just realizing stuff, that
It's the year of realizing things.
that I'm just seeing things like relationships for how they really are.
Yes.
Like I'm seeing, oh yeah, I actually am the one that's always asking you about things, or I am the one that's making the effort to see you or to reach out, and you never ask me about my job. You never ask me about how work, like a struggle that I had. So then now I don't even share things.
Yes.
Like I had something really traumatic happen to me like in September at work, and I told you about it like immediately, and it was really, really horrible. And like I didn't even know how to process that. But that was a time where I felt like I really had to talk about it because I couldn't even process. But anyway, some people I didn't even tell at all what happened. Like that were friends close to me. I didn't even say.
Think are close to you.
Because I realized they're not going to give me the support that I need in this moment. They're not actually going to care. And I actually saw one of the people like I think it was the day after it happened.
Right.
And I was so checked out. Like it was, I was so not myself at all. And I was at this meeting and that person didn't even say anything to me.
You're like, do you not care at all, or you can't even see past anything you're going through to realize I'm going through something?
I mean, it was so clear that I was so distraught and upset. And I don't know, maybe this is just we are more in tune to how other people feel and are more apathetic. Like, I don't know, maybe that is just like I'm projecting how I think I would react on somebody else. But if the roles were reversed, like I 100% would have said, hey, is everything okay?
Especially with that person.
Yes. So, yeah, and I never even now, like, I never even told them that I went through that because I'm just like,
they don't care.
You're not going to care.
Doesn't feel like you're going to care. And I do think of some people when you're talking to them, when they try to, like, relate to you, it feels more like they're competing.
Yes.
When you're talking about, oh, well, I knew somebody who went through that, or I went through that, and this is how I felt, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, that's good that we can relate to each other, but I want to talk about this.
And I've learned that, I mean, it's something that I kind of knew, but like I fully didn't understand how impactful it can be on somebody, I guess. You think that you are being relatable and that you trying to share your own experience is helpful to that person. Yes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes,
a lot of the times it is. Yeah. But sometimes people just need to talk.
Right. And the timing of when you share, I think, is really important. And also knowing that something that you went through and how you got through it is not the same as how someone else is going through it. Even if the situation is the same, how you react and how you process and feel is not the same. No. And when you're just saying like, oh yeah, well, this is what I did and this helped me and blah, 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 blah. That isn't what people want to hear sometimes.
Like, I just need you to listen.
Right. And listening is hard for people.
It is very hard because we are so consumed in ourselves all the time that it can be very hard to just sit there and listen to what somebody's telling you and react in a supportive way.
I think that we are good listeners.
I think I'm a very good listener.
Yeah.
And so are you.
You think? Yeah, I think that, and I'm a good active listener too. Like I'm not... Like I'm genuinely,
thinking about something else.
And I'm genuinely taking in what somebody's telling me, and I'm conscious of like their body language or things that they're not saying.
Right.
Like I'm conscious of that, and I guess it's just me understanding that not everybody has that skill.
Right.
Or and I think it is kind of it's learned, but also you naturally have that.
Yeah, I agree.
But. We're not all the same, but it's just frustrating when like we react some ways or we know what we need in a moment and the people that we think know us so well
Yes.
don't even know how to talk to us or listen or react at all. So
yes, it is tough.
But that's where we need to set our boundaries. And in those moments, maybe my boundary isn't really that healthy because I am just shutting down with those people. But it's because I'm trying to protect myself, really.
Exactly. Why would I, if I know that person's not going to respond in the way I need them to, why should I tell them?
Yeah.
And I know even in my marriage and stuff, I've gotten a lot better about being like, this is what upset me. Where before I would just shut down and not speak to him for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, that really made me mad.
Yeah. Like I had a situation that happened with my dad recently where I was so frustrated. And I just shut myself down because I didn't want to keep going with this, like, conflict that we were having, and I was trying to process exactly how I was feeling about the whole thing. And it was like 2 weeks, I think, that I was being very short and not really wanting to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then finally, of course, I was the one that bridged the gap and finally said, hey, like, this is what upset me, but like, everything's fine now, but it's still the communication. I think our communication styles are just different.
Yes.
So the way I would have liked that to have been resolved, it didn't happen.
Right.
And the way that he handled it, he thought he was doing it right, you know? And I guess that's just, he doesn't realize how I communicate maybe. And I don't know, but that's just frustrating because I'm like, how do you not know?
Just do what I need you to do.
You can't just read my mind.
I do think it's important though too. Other people need to be receptive to boundaries and like what you're saying too, because I feel like a lot of times they're just not. There's definitely certain people I know I can't talk to.
Yeah.
Because I know they're not going to be receptive in certain ways. Another thing I think is really important too is physical boundaries.
Yeah.
And what you're comfortable with. And we've been teaching my oldest child that, you know, just because you or somebody gets you something, you don't have to give them physical affection to show gratitude. You still need to be grateful. But if you don't want to, and he's been in so many situations where someone has been trying to like force physical affection on him and it makes him really upset.
Yeah.
And we've been telling him, you know, you can say no. And we also said sometimes you do want to hug somebody and sometimes you don't. And that's totally okay. And even he now is saying, I want to give you a hug today, but sometimes I don't want to. And we even have a book too that's like yes means yes and anything else means no. And it's just so important for a boy to understand that now for when he's older. And if nobody's respecting his physical boundaries,
he's not going to respect someone else's.
So we're really trying. It seems like it's getting through. I mean, he's only almost 4.
Yeah.
But I just do think that's so important. And I know some people have even looked at me like, oh, he won't hug me. You know, it's like he doesn't want to. I'm not going to force him to hug people he doesn't want to hug. And trust me, he rejects me all the time. It's not a personal thing. And some people, like my youngest child, might be super affectionate with everyone. But maybe my older one that's not his love language, maybe.
Yeah. Or, you know, maybe he will be in a year.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
just
know.
Right now, he's just... No, he likes being able to say no, and it's his body, and people need to respect that.
Yeah, I think you're spot on because with young boys, it's important to teach that early, just that yes means yes and everything else means no. Like there literally is no gray area. Like no. And we're totally right. If people respect his wishes and his body, then he's more likely to respect other people's.
Yeah, and have that understanding of no means no.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I do want a hug and you can ask for a hug.
Yeah, yeah. It's like not the same, but just with people's things.
Yeah.
Like I've been more cognizant of that recently.
Yes.
Where, like, just an example, I use work examples a lot, but I'm at work, the majority of my life. So with people that I'm working with, they'll come in and, like, they might ask a question and they'll bring in their laptop or something. Yeah. And I'll say, like, instead of just jumping in and, like, touching their stuff, I'll say, is it okay if I, like, you go on your mouse pad and touch your laptop? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. And if they said no, I would respect that. Exactly. But I find myself, like, hold on, I need to ask.
Yes. I've been more aware of that, too. Or even with a child.
Yeah.
It's like, can I pick you up?
Yeah.
And if they're open to it, and just even with adults too, it's like, can I hug you?
Yeah. Which I never say that to anyone because
you're like, or I'll hug you. You don't hug me, if that makes sense. Don't put your arms around me, but I'm going to put mine around you. But I do think it is very important with people's stuff too. Or can I hand this to you?
Yeah. I know one of my coworkers is more, affectionate and not in a weird way at all. Right. It's just like,
touchy.
Celebratory. Yeah. Like, or, oh, you're going through something, but she always asks. Yes. And I think she is very good at respecting boundaries and she knows how I am. And it's not like, I'm not like a anti-physical touch at all, but it's just like I'm not one that's super affectionate and huggy with random people. Like that's just not the way I am. But she always will say, like, can I come into your personal space? Like, do you mind if I give you a hug? That's so great
that she does that.
Yeah, and she's like, our parents' age. Yeah. And I think that's like when you talk about your son, it's not the way like our parents or our grandparents were raised.
Yeah, it was like you gave that relative a hug. Yeah. You gave them a kiss.
Yeah, and there's a huge difference between like disrespect and just no, I'm not comfortable doing that right now. Whereas like I think sometimes older generations just see it as straight up disrespect.
Yeah, or you don't like me. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's I was gonna say that too is this is the first time I'm even really hearing the words boundaries and like gaslighting and all that stuff. We did not talk about that.
No, and it existed. Yeah. They all existed. It just wasn't anything that we discussed.
No, and I don't even think it was something I was even taught either. No. Like I don't remember conversations about boundaries or because people just weren't talking about it then. And I think it's really cool that we're talking about it now.
I do too. And I think that it helps like with your sons to teach them that now, or even just younger people that we come in contact with, like it helps them have more self-respect.
It does.
And then when you have more self-respect, you're more likely to treat others with respect, or you attract people who are going to treat you with respect. Like if you don't set boundaries with yourself, then people are just going to use you and take advantage of you in all aspects of life, like with work, with like relationships, with everything. Yeah. And so you have to set those boundaries. You have to have respect for yourself, and it does start early, and that's why it's harder for us to try and create those now at this point in our life.
Because it was not a part of our lives.
No.
Boundaries setting and it just wasn't.
There were so many times where it was like, go give Uncle so-and-so a hug. And I didn't want to. Yeah. I didn't even like know them that well. Why do I need to do that? And even thinking back, like, why did you want me to do that? Like, it's just...
It was like the respectful way of showing gratitude, but there's so many other ways. Even when I see like a kid that's saying goodbye, like give everyone a hug, and I just look at that kid as they have to go around and hug everyone. Person. I'm like, oh no. And then I feel uncomfortable hugging them because I'm like, I hope you want this hug.
I know.
Like I just...
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable too. Like being the receiver of the hug. And I sometimes am like, okay, I didn't really need this myself, but
here you go.
Pat, pat, pat. Like, all right, go away now.
Yeah, and it means so much more when like my son will come up to me and give me a hug all on his own. Yeah. It's like, instead of me being like, please hug me.
I know.
It's like me and my husband have even talked about doing that less. It's like he's saying no. leave him back
Yeah.
off. You know, he needs to. That's
I
his
know.
body.
He did that to me one time a while ago when I was leaving and gave me a hug on his own. And I was like,
oh,
you
see, it was
care
like
about
he
me?
wanted to do that. Yeah,
I know.
and it's so much more meaningful. But
yeah, and I don't ever get hurt. Like, I think,
no.
I mean, I am not one that needs or wants a lot of that kind of attention anyway, but like anytime I was leaving here, like I don't think, before we even talked about these boundaries that you're working on with your son, like I never was forceful with that.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm leaving, I'll see you later.
See ya.
And he always says bye.
Right.
But, you know, and especially like kids are playing and
I know, they don't want to just be held up by that, but
yeah, that's interesting. It's so good that you're teaching that, though.
I know, that's one thing I'm doing right.
You're doing a lot of things right, but I think that's just a really big one.
It is. Even not even just for boys, but for girls.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to hug creepy old guy.
Yeah.
If you don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want a creepy old guy.
Yeah, creepy old great uncle so-and-so that you've met one time for 5 minutes.
And just because somebody's in your family does not mean they're a good person either. So.
Yeah, so you don't feel obligated to give them any type of affection like that. Yeah.
Well, I think this was a good conversation about boundaries.
I know. It's good to talk about it. I like talking about it because
we can talk about it again sometime.
And our progress and different boundaries that we're trying. There's always room to grow.
Yes,
so
there is.
Yeah.
So, subscribe.
Yeah. Do you have a recommendation? I have to think of one.
So this week I am just going to go ahead and recommend Vanderpump Rules. It's going to get juicy this season, even without all this extra drama. So let's all watch it.
Absolutely. I guess I will stay on the show theme for recommendations. Mine is older though. I've been watching ER on Hulu.
Oh, yes.
And I could talk, this could be a whole nother topic, ER versus Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
But ER is just so freaking good.
It is. Me and my stepsister in the summer times, we would watch Charmed and then ER. And
it just
all summer long.
Yeah. And the storylines are great. I feel like I am actually in a hospital ER.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched that, I know this is a throwback because it is an older show, but if you haven't watched it, I would recommend. And also if you're somebody that like does a lot of work from home or computer work or something and like to have things on in the background, it's a great one because there are a lot of seasons.
Yes, there are.
It will take you a long time to get through.
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, make sure that you check us out. We are on Spotify.
Apple Podcasts.
We're on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you find your podcasts.
You can hear us.
You can hear us. And check us out on TikTok because we're on there too.
We're working on that.
We are learning.
We're struggling,
the generational curve. We're trying, but we are learning, and we hope
we'll get better.
Yeah, get better and post like more engaging content on there. So keep a lookout for that, and rate us, review us, and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.